left, so questions would be good.
I have a question.
Okay.
I was going to ask Casey to tell a little bit about herself, even though you haven't dug in the dirt. But you are a STEM major here at MTSU. Why don't you tell the audience what you have been doing?
When I first came to MTSU, I was a pre-med major, which in essence is a biology, chemistry double major. I did that for 2 years, but I really wasn't very satisfied with that. And I decided that working with animals was what I liked to do best. I worked at a pet store for a couple of years, and I really, really loved it. So I changed my major to pre-veterinary medicine, and I'm a biochemistry major. I am the president of WISE, which is Women in Science and Engineering, and I have a lot of fun with helping other women succeed in the sciences and the maths and the engineers. When I was a pre-med major, I was a math minor, so I had a huge load as far as classes go with the STEM subjects, but it's very doable. There's a lot of hard work that goes into having so many STEM classes, but it's well worth it. Once you take those classes and realize that you actually know the material and you know what you're studying and you really like it, it's a really wonderful feeling. I am very, very young. This is my 4th year at MTSU, so I don't really have, as far as having to balance my career and my life going for me right now, it's all just school. But I do make time for my friends. Most of them are STEM majors as well, so we have a lot in common. And I have a lot of friends within WISE who are STEM majors, and that's the really cool thing about WISE, is because everyone has so much in common that we all get along very well. We can help each other with classes. Most of us have taken classes that other people are taking, so we can help them with that. And it's a really nice way to network and make friends. Would you like to know anything else about me?
You did good.
Okay, thank you.
What do you all want to know about us?
I know you have questions. Ms. Garland told me you did. Yes.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
I know you had mentioned that you want to go into law, or people suggested that you want to go into law. Is there anything else that, like, if you could go back, if you might want to go into or deal more in? Or are you pretty
I
set?
took a biology class like in my final year of doing my Bachelor of Science degree, and we learnt about parasites. And it sounds really gross, but I thought parasites were the coolest things. And I think if I'd taken that biology class, then maybe I wouldn't be sitting here as a geologist, maybe I would be a parasitologist or something.
If I did it over, I would do something completely different. I would want to be a chef or a caterer. I know that's really different, but I love food and I love to cook. And what I study in archaeology is what people ate in the past. So it kind of goes together, but I know it's really different. It is really different.
With me, I always wanted to be an archaeologist, but like I said, there were the journalist, the vet, the president, which I'm not going to bother with that anymore. But at least I got to pull in my other interest into archaeology. Once I figured out that this was really what I wanted to do, I found ways to incorporate everything I really liked into one thing. So
I think if I had to do it over, I might still be a biologist. I might still be an ecologist. But I wouldn't have focused on basic science. I would be a forester. I'd be looking at ecosystems instead of individual species, because I find excitement and adventure there. And you might have noticed, and each person that spoke, we spoke about where we found excitement. That's really so important. Yeah, getting paid for what we do is an important and happying thing, but that's not the primary driver. And doing something that we can do well is important. But even that's not the primary driver, because there's a lot of things that we can do well, each and every one of us. But finding something that excites you, that's important, because like it or not, no matter how we balance, no matter how we manage, we spend a lot of time every day, every week, every month, even during our summer vacation, doing our work. And if it doesn't excite us, it's not a good thing.
It doesn't excite us all the time, though.
Right. It doesn't necessarily excite us all the time. However, even when I'm doing the drag part of my job, there's an exciting part of my job that it's leading me to. When I'm doing some basic manipulation on a set of plants, I can know I'm excited about the statistical analysis and what I'll find out. You know, there's always an exciting part, but life is not always exciting.
Yes, well, someone once told me if you could enjoy even just 70% of your job, you're doing better than a lot of people.
Yes.
And I definitely enjoy at least 70% of what I currently do.
And that's one of the reasons why I changed my major from pre-med to pre-vet, was because working with animals excited me a lot more than, you know, becoming a people doctor. Because I'm a cat lover, and my final goal is to work with exotic cats, and that's where I want to be. But microbiology has been my favorite course so far. Learning about microorganisms, it's very interesting.
Microorganisms are cool.
I used to be a germ freak, and I'm not so much after taking that class, which is very unusual because you learn all of the things that you can't see, you don't necessarily know that's there.
And Dr. Johnson made a good point. I'll jump in here now that you've got to love what you're doing. I love teaching, and that's why I'm here at MTSU now. After I got my PhD and I went to Texas to do some postdoc work where I learned a little bit more about something else in my field and how to set up a laboratory, a research laboratory. I did some polymer chemistry. After I did my year as a postdoc, I went and worked for the Food and Drug Administration because that was the only job I could get at that time in Texas. I did not want to move because I had met my husband and we were making plans to get married. So I worked as a food and drug analytical chemist, and you can ask your teacher about some of the stories I've told about some of the things I've analyzed, including peanut butter cups. Who likes peanut butter cups? We'll tell you afterwards about peanut butter cups. And then, since I was a polymer chemist and I wanted to work in the plastics industry, I got a job as a plastics chemist. I was the only woman professional in that small plastics company in Fort Worth, Texas. Yet one day, and this was in 1994, one day I came in, and I'm an early bird too, and I came in to work, and our secretary did not come in, and my boss asked me to play secretary for the day. This was in 1994. So things aren't all hunky-dory or all, smooth for women in science. We cannot say it's equal yet. We're working on it, and that's why we have grits, and that's why we're doing this panel, and that's why we're doing Expanding Your Horizons. But when my boss said, do you want your job? When I told him no, I wasn't going to play secretary because everybody had a phone on their desk. I said no, and I walked out. I just wish I had a witness. I would own the company today. But things you gotta love what you want to do. And I was still teaching part-time at night. So when that happened, I said, okay, I'm a teacher. And then I started looking for a full-time tenure-track job, and I ended up here at MTSU. But these are very important things that these women are telling you. You got to really decide what you want to do and what your first love is. And balancing also is very important, because I too was a single mother when I was in graduate school. And you all know how teenage boys are since you go to school with them, right? Well, I had my son was in high school, and he drove me nuts saying, I want a car, I want a car, I want a car. Mom, when are you going to graduate? I want a car. But, these things, you got to like what you do.
Are there any more questions? Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if it's really a question, but I'm really interested in anthropology. Maybe, I don't know if it's more forensics anthropology, but I really like just the study of bones, and I think it's like a really cool field to go in, because I know paleontology is another thing as well, but I don't know exactly what do I need to work for to get into the field of anthropology.
Well, I think that most high schools probably don't offer very many anthropology courses. Is that correct? That's how it was when I was in high school, and I'm assuming it's still the same. Mm-hmm. Yes? So when you get to, when you go to choose a university, you need to check out their program and see what kind of anthropology program they have. And this goes for any kind of field that anybody else wants to go into. If you already have an idea in mind of where you think your career might lead you, then check out universities. Don't go to a university just because that's where your friends are going or because your parents expect you to go there. I actually chose my university because it was in-state, but it was far enough away from my family that they couldn't just drop by. They had to drive 4.5 hours to get there. So not necessarily the smartest way to choose a university, but it had a really good anthropology program, luckily for me. And that's something to look into is how good is the program that you're interested in? What kind of research opportunities are there for undergraduates with the faculty? And here at MTSU, we're a primarily undergraduate institution. We have a lot of research opportunities. I know all of us do research with undergraduates. That's how Lacey and I became so close, because I was her mentor, and she had several grant-funded projects that she worked on, that she wrote the grants for, that were funded through MTSU, and another grant that you wrote too that was an external grant. So, look for those types of opportunities that are available.
I would say that doing research as an undergraduate is a really, really important aspect of the work, because you get a chance to try it out, to see if you really like it or not. And you should realize that if you get in there and find out you don't like it, nobody's going to be mad at you. But you can be happy with yourself that you find out early on, oh man, I don't want to do this. You don't want to go through 4 years of undergraduate education, maybe more, a couple of years of a master's, and then work in a PhD only to find out, oh, I don't enjoy this. So doing research as an undergraduate, having a variety of research experiences, if you can manage it, is really a good thing. And finally, I think it helps you to grow as an individual and grow as a professional person, a professionally oriented person, no matter what career you finally go into. It's a good thing.
Yes, it is. I saw another hand up.
As professors of science at the college level, how much of your time is spent doing research?
How much of the time do you spend
doing research?
Not enough.
At MTSU, we do have a research requirement, and yet, as an ecologist, I say I have to have hands to do that with. In the science education research that I currently do, I don't have a research project this semester. I had one last semester. This semester I'm dedicating to getting the statistical analysis done, and hopefully next semester completing a paper. I don't get something done every semester, and then too I'm balancing with my life as a single mom. When I made a decision to accept the position at MTSU, it was at least in part because we're not a full-scale research university, and I knew the demands of my life and my own desire for personal enjoyment, there are other things I enjoy being beside a scientist, would not allow me to put 100% of time into being a scientist doing research. So for each of us up here, we probably have a different response because we have our own personal inclinations and the things we enjoy doing. I enjoy my research, but I don't want to do it 100% of the time, and so I feel like I'm well placed here.
Well, I'm trying to increase the amount of research I'm doing right now. I'm just starting my 3rd year here, so I don't have tenure yet, so I really do need to work on research. I currently have 3 research projects that I'm working on. So I've got one out in Western Tennessee. I had a student working with me. Unfortunately, he graduated, so I have no help with that anymore. I also have one down in Florida, and I have 3 students working with me down there. The Florida project, of course, is the one everyone comes to see me about joining because it sounds exciting until we get down there and I get them out of bed at like 6 in the morning to go walk around in polluted rivers. And then it's not as exciting. It's not lying on the beach, unfortunately. But, and I've just started a new research project in the Gulf of Mexico. So this semester I have a relatively light teaching load. I only teach Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So I'm trying to devote most of my time right now to research. I also have a conference coming up. Well, I'm supposed to. It's in Houston, and it's in 3 weeks. So we'll see if I still have a conference to go to. But yeah, so I'm trying to prepare. We have Two of my students are going with me. Each one of them is preparing a large poster on their research work, and I'm preparing one from my Western Tennessee project. So at the moment, it's more like I'm spending 70% of my time on research, 80%.
Yeah, I would say when I first came to MTSU, I came from a research-intensive university, which Dr. Johnson was saying MTSU is not, and that's why I really like MTSU, because I don't have to spend 150% of my time on research, because I do enjoy teaching. So when I first came to MTSU, I was mostly focused on teaching and getting my classes together and trying to start some research projects. Now that this is the start of my 4th year, I have more research projects than I can count at this point. I'm working everywhere from Middle Tennessee at a site in Castalian Springs, which you may have heard of. It was hit by tornadoes in February earlier this year. And I also have a project going on in Southwest Florida. I just spent 3 weeks this summer in Scotland on a research project. So I have stuff going on everywhere. I have sites all over Tennessee that I work on, and some in Kentucky as well. So I have a lot of research opportunities that I involve my students in, and that's how I am able, I think, to have so many projects going on at the same time, is because I have students working on all of them. Lacey was a student working on projects with me when she was a student here, and now that she's graduated, and I was, yay for her for graduating, but I was really sad when she graduated because I had to train new students. But that is one way, and we're encouraged here at MTSU to involve our students in our research, and it's a win-win for everyone.
I want to add, I'm not faculty, obviously, but I did have a ton of opportunities to do research, especially with Dr. Paris. And I feel that if I had gone to a better known school for anthropology specifically, that I probably wouldn't have gotten as much attention, because a better known school probably would have had a graduate department, and they would have spent all their time on those students. But as for research, I still do some things despite the fact that I'm not in school and should be doing a lot more of. And I think I hope that's telling for me, that I still do research even though I have no reason to do it. I'm not trying to further myself, at least in school. I'm just doing it to be doing it. So.
Lacey, will you tell them about your dog bone project? Because
I
I think that
will.
is so interesting.
I will. For my biggest undergraduate research project, I studied dog bones from sites in the Middle Tennessee area. And before, I had actually worked on a site in Hermitage, Tennessee, outside of Nashville, that had these dog burials. And before I worked on that site, I really hadn't thought about there being dogs here, and then there being dogs as pets here in North America before the Europeans came over. And it got me really interested, so I decided I would look into it more and more. So I started off just doing some kind of literature research, trying to find other instances of dogs in the Tennessee area. And it turned into I would say, a full-blown research project. I actually was able to obtain dog bones, look at them. And what I was most interested in, yes, they appeared to be pets. They were often buried with the humans in a very referential manner. But there was a paper that suggested that perhaps these dogs were being used as work dogs, kind of like, a St. Bernard or a herding dog, things like that. And I began to look at these dogs and realized that there's something going on. I'm not going to say what exactly yet. I'm not sure. It could be something genetic. But I am leaning towards these dogs being used as pack animals. In North America, there weren't a lot of animals that were easily domesticable, like there were in Europe and Asia. We didn't have cows over here, didn't have pigs, and certainly no horses when humans were here before Europeans arrived. And I think dogs would have been an excellent way to carry things. And they're very loyal and love to do stuff for humans.
We actually have some pictures of these ladies digging in the dirt. Would you like to share any of your pictures with them? Okay. I'll go on.
We can.
There we go.
Yeah, that's me when I was out on a research cruise in the North Atlantic Ocean. So we were off the coast of Greenland. And for some reason, whenever we went down on the work deck, we had to wear those lovely blue jumpsuits. I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, so that's me at the microscope, where I spend most of my time anyway. But yeah, off the coast of Greenland. Yes. Oh, this is here in Middle Tennessee. I take my students out to go fossil collecting. So that's on the side of the road to Woodbury. This is me in Hawaii, and Hawaii is a fantastic place. If you ever want to go there, I highly recommend it. What's the next one? Oh, that's me at the University of California in Berkeley, where one of my friends did her PhD, and I was just visiting to look at the giant ammonite shell because I love fossils. I am a paleontologist. Oh, this is more fossil collecting with my students. So the one on the left is out on, I think, 840, and the one on the right is at Parsons Quarry up in Parsons, Tennessee. Oh, and that is me at Coon Creek, which is my site in Western Tennessee. And I actually get to collect my samples, I have to rappel down a 50-foot cliff to collect all my samples, and we're out there in April after all that rain we had this year, and I got absolutely coated in mud. So I guess we need to hurry up. And that's in Florida with my student Marjorie, who also sadly graduated. She was a good, hard worker. I miss her. And that's the picture from before. Oh, that's also in Florida, but
That's
we
not
can
Florida.
go into bones now.
That was another research project I did as an undergraduate. That is a deer astragalus, and it's an ankle bone. And what was interesting about that particular one was that someone had actually burned the inside part of it and made a hole in it. It was very weird, and I'm still intrigued by it and don't know what it is. This is one of my dog burials that I was talking about. There was actually another burial to the north of it, but this one was in really good condition, so I decided to get a picture of it. And I don't know if you can pick out certain parts of it, but you can probably see the backbone pretty well. It's probably the most obvious thing. And those dogs were several thousand years old, maybe 6,000, 5,000 years old, just to give you an idea. It's fascinating.
That's one of our graduates, Jennifer Clinton. She is now working for a cultural resource management firm, and I just got an email from her. She's in Louisiana, and she said it's been very cold and rainy. So they haven't been doing much digging. But she spent this summer working at Big South Fork, was it National
River and Recreation Area.
River and Recreation Area as an intern there.
That
that
is
you?
that is me.
That's
was
Tracy.
also at Big South Fork. Jennifer Clinton also had an internship there last year, but I worked there last summer. And sometimes our job gets very, very dirty. We were actually, that doesn't do it justice. We were covered in dirt from head to toe.
Another graduate of ours, Brandy Dacus, who works for a cultural resource management firm here in Nashville now. That was at our archaeology field school that we have every summer.
That is me getting some measurements in the field. That was at MTSU's field school in Castellian Springs, as Dr. Paris mentioned. And at that field school, you learn how to do everything in archaeology. And even with one 5-week session, you are competent enough to go out in the field and do these things.
That's just a general shot of the field school. Is that Teresa?
That is Natalie.
Oh, is she still here or she graduated?
She graduated.
So another alum at the field school. That's me. I didn't know this picture was going to be in here.
Snuck it in. That is Dr. Paris at Russell Cave in Alabama, getting ready to throw an atlatl, which is kind of a prehistoric spear thrower. That's another MTSU archaeology graduate. That's my friend Leslie.
That's me taking bulk samples from a about 22-foot tall shell mound in southwest Florida on an island just off the Gulf of Mexico. And that's Lacey and I taking a sample from a site here in Middle Tennessee. It's one of our current students. She's a biology major, but she's very interested in archaeology. This is Nikki Luttrell, and she was at our field school this summer. That's a graduate of ours, Teresa Ingalls, who is taking a sample this summer at the field school, and she is now a graduate student at the University of Hawaii. That's me carefully excavating some sort of animal bones out of the site there. That's me giving a lecture after a hard day in the field. I'm a zooarchaeologist. I study animal remains from archaeological sites, so I'm showing them that yes, you can tell the difference between a deer, which is on the left, and a rabbit, which is on the right.
If I may interject quickly, because we need to wrap things up, I wanted to let you all know about GRITS, which is Girls Written in Tennessee Science. You have a brochure and pens and pencils for all of you. We're here to help you. We want you to be excited by science and think about science when in your classes, when you're in high school and in college. So if you need anything, please get in touch with us, and we are here for you. And our website is www.mtsu.edu/GRITS.
See you up there. We would like to turn this over to you to close things up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judith Iriarte Gross, Lacey Fleming, Casey DeShields, Dr. Tanya Perez, Dr. Melissa Lobegeyer, and Dr. Sandra Johnson. Thanks also to Miss Jenny Garland and her wonderful students from Columbia Central High School in Maury County. I'd like to remind our site facilitators to please have today's participants complete session evaluation forms. If our cable or webcasting viewers would like to give us feedback, they may complete forms online at www.mtsu.edu/ITSC. You may also download a copy of the PowerPoint slides and an announcement about an upcoming GRITS conference from our website. While you're online, check out our new program archive. All of our 2007-2008 programs are now available for online viewing 24/7. If you'd like a free video copy of today's program, you may send us an unused VHS tape or a -R blank DVD in a pre-addressed stamped mailer. We'd be happy to dub a copy for you free of charge and mail it back to you. For details about getting your free video, contact us by email at vmoxley@mtsu.edu. We ask you to please reference program number at the bottom of your screen when making your request, and to limit your request to 2 videos per semester. And please be patient. It takes us several months to get our programs edited and ready for distribution. We're going to be back on the air this Thursday, September 18th from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for getting to know the new mathematics standards in grades K through 2. We hope you'll join us. Before we sign off today, I'd like to thank our technical crew and support staff. I'd like to thank the Education Resource Channel at Middle Tennessee and our cable partners across the state and in Huntsville. As always, I'd like to thank our site facilitators, but most of all, I'd like to thank the students and their teachers who joined us for today's program. Thank you.